This is a video about how you will be forgotten. It's about the ghosts that surround us and how they're getting closer. Millions of kilometers out into space. It's called the solar corona. During an eclipse, it can be seen. When you are eclipsed, your own sort of corona will remain as well. The memories people have of you, your treasure and junk, emails and texts you sent, the fact that your child has a nose like yours, every...
Ladies and gents, welcome to Reaction. This is Vsauce is back. What? This is the first frame of the video. I hope he's properly back this time, because I'm pretty sure it's been like years since he posted last time. And Vsauce, the man. I'm a big science guy. Like that, if I list all the things that I prioritize, science would be top of it, right? So Vsauce is like one of those channels. Like, yeah, I was wishing for like when he's gonna post, when he's gonna post. All the ghosts you will be. I don't know what scientific topic this is gonna be about, but it's gonna be awesome. Let's go this one.
Hey Vsauce, Michael here. A single piece of refined flour is, on average, just 82.67 microns wide. That means a 5-pound bag of flour contains about 2.7 billion individual specks of flour dust. Now, if each of those particles were a person, 3 bags could represent every single human alive on Earth today. 8.1 billion itty-bitty things. Are you under 30 years old? Is a question that could roughly divide everyone alive today in half, the yeses and the nos. But can you imagine a second question that could then divide both of those groups in half? Well, if so, and if you kept doing that, after just 33 questions, you would be left with more than 8 billion groups, each containing just one person. In other words, out of everyone alive today, we could pinpoint a specific individual. For example, you, with just 33 yes or no questions. What would those questions be? Do they even exist? We don't know. But we do know that every year, about this many people die. A little bit more than a quarter cup. But about twice as many as that are born. But how many people have ever been born? This many,
or something?
117 billion. But out of all of these people...
I was just off by 17 billion. It's not that much. It's just twice as the population we have right now.
Out of everyone who has ever existed, this is how many you will ever meet. You are a stranger to your own species. This is a video about how you will be forgotten. It's about the ghosts that surround us and how they're getting closer. Our journey begins 2,500 kilometers above the surface of the sun. There, a hot layer of ionized gas begins its reach millions of kilometers out into space. It's called the solar corona. And normally, it's outshone by the rest of the sun because it gives off just 1/1,000,000th as much light. But during an eclipse, it can be seen. When you are eclipsed, your own sort of corona will remain as well. The memories people have of you, your treasure and junk, emails and texts you sent, the fact that your child has a nose like yours, every appearance you made in the background of a stranger's phone.
Okay, I don't know how scientific this video is going to be. I mean, obviously it's going to be scientific. Everything has a science, and it's a Vsauce video. I think people told him like, when are you going to post next video? When are you going to post next video? Like, still, Michael, where are you? Michael, you want me to post next video? I'm going to post next video. Yeah. By the end of the video, we'll be so depressed. It's like, yeah, it's going to be next level. It's going to be something. Let's watch it.
Photo. Those are all traces of you that shine while you're alive, but can also continue long after you're gone. Douglas Hofstadter called them your solar corona. I love that phrase because it makes a cosmological phenomenon personal by literally including you. How long will you be here? Well, that's why I made this clock. It tells the time, but it also tells your time. Just answer a few questions, and then, when it's ready, push the red button, and the clock will begin counting down the seconds you have left to live, approximately. Now, whenever you want...
I think Clarkson and May, I think long ago, in Grand Tour, or was it on Top Gear? I don't know. Talked about this. Like, I think it was Grand Tour very, like, few years ago. A few years, it was 7 years. Goddamn, time flies. Yeah, so they talked about like how many seconds they have left and they were joking about it. I guess this became a thing. They probably did this clock thing. Yeah, that's next level shit. I'm obviously like accuracy of this is gonna be not that great, but good enough. I don't know. Like they just as an experiment, right? Like as a thing to look at. This is frightening. Look at those numbers. Clock is ticking on you, man. Imagine, like, first of all, life and death itself doesn't matter how much you process it. You'll come to a point and you'll just accept it. I don't want to think about it. You won't really process it, what it is not to be alive, right? And then you have this fucking clock.
You can switch it to show the time, but that's not nearly as fun. Also, this clock never forgets. If you take away its power, it'll go dark, but it's still thinking about you. Next time you plug it in, it will pick right back up where it should be. Now, if you would like a practical, retro memento mori, you can pre-order one of these now. Omnis vulnerant ultima necat is Latin, and it refers to these passing seconds. It means...
I can't do this. This is so good, man. Okay, I'm gonna make this dreadful video that's gonna give depression to everyone. Okay, what should I use as promotion? Oh, I know. There's a clock I could talk about. There you go.
Each of these wounds, the last kills. Mox Nox means soon it will be night. And it will. But while this is ticking down, something else is ticking up. The number of ghosts in the world. Your nominal ghost is your name. It's out there representing you whether you're there or not. It won't haunt the world forever though. As we've often been reminded, you die twice. Once when your heart stops beating, and then again, usually sometime later, when your name is spoken for the last time.
Yeah, that's so dreadful.
But whose name has been remembered the longest? Well,
see, I think the most fucked up thing about that is how many of us are there whose name will be last spoken at the moment your funeral is. People give such a less shit about you that after funeral people won't even think about you. And I know that like in this, especially in the modern world where people have less and less friends, oh my god, that might be one of the realities. Maybe there's an extreme version, not that quick, but quick, like a week or a month from you die, like that's the last time people will think about you. Imagine that shit. And imagine the dread that comes with it.
Well, signed here on this 5,000-year-old tablet is the oldest written name we've ever found. Kushum, the first named character we know in the written history of humanity, probably. It's not entirely clear whether Kushum is the name of a person or just the title of an office holder. You know, if we want to be really sure, a generation or two later, this tablet was made. It contains 3 names, Gal Sol and 2 people he enslaved, Inpop X and a woman named Sukaljar. These individuals are the reigning champs of avoiding the second death. And with archival practices and technologies being what they are today, your name could conceivably last just as long as these have already. But you know, I gotta say, if you want your ghosts to last longer, it helps to bend the truth a little bit. Toby Jukanov built this interactive globe that shows the most famous person born in every location. Fame is based on...
Like, in India, there's a name that is so striking in bold letters. What could it be? Of course, it's Gandhi. Why would it be anything else? Look, you can just see it from here.
That shows the most famous person born...
Okay. M. Night Shyamalan, really? That's what South has to represent? Really? You know how many people you piss off by showing this? I get it by just name of fame, but like scientists and certain people are really like proud in that level. Like if you like, you know, like don't acknowledge certain scientific people and things like that. But okay.
In every location. Fame is based on Wikipedia data. How long their article is, how many languages it's in, how many visits it gets per day, stuff like that. By the way, out of everyone alive right now, about this many of us, almost exactly a quarter teaspoon, are mentioned on Wikipedia. Now let's zoom in on Stillwell, Kansas. Ooh, hey there, good looking. But here's the thing. I wasn't born in Stillwell. I grew up there. I lived there from ages 5 to 18, but I was born in Kansas City. For a while, a lot of things online said that I was born in Stillwell, so that's probably...
As soon as he said that, someone from Kansas City just like took a pitchfork. Give us Michael Stevens, what the fuck?
How I wound up here. But should I correct it? What's more important, the truth or a little lie that prolongs and enhances my nominal ghost? Maybe the truth, because even if my name is forgotten, images of me may stick around, and that is your second ghost, your likeness, figurative portrayals of what you look like. Now, we have no idea what most people who have lived looked like. Long ago, no record.
See, we are getting to a point where like digital footprint of any kind is becoming overwhelmed because everyone like me has access to internet. The day is not that far off where like everybody's basically on the internet that it doesn't matter, it's saturation. And YouTube is already deleting old channels and like dormant channels. So it's not far off where like just 2-3 years old things and YouTube might just delete it if it's inactive. Doesn't matter what it is. Twitter could start deleting photos in future. I'm talking about like good in a future where it just becomes too much. Where like it's not feasible to keep the server alive. Something that is old enough, like 2-3 years old.
Records were made. Eventually some were and have survived. So who's the earliest known person where like we know what they looked like? Well, it's probably Gudea. He was an ancient Sumerian ruler, and 27 4,000-year-old statues of him have been found in southern Iraq. They stand out not just for their craftsmanship, but also for the fact that earlier depictions of human forms are either more abstract or generalized. But because these depictions of Gudea are
maybe
more
that's how they
realistic,
looked,
are so similar to each other, and have been found spread so widely, it's tenable that they're similar to the actual face of the actual individual as he appeared in life. The first known illustrated person in our history. Even if your figural ghosts don't stick around as long as Gudea's have, things...
You know what more important point here is like who made that sculpture? Who made it? Like that's probably one of the first artists. Again, artist definition could be anything. But if you can capture that, you're proper first artist, aren't you? But we'll never know that. Like, did the person signature it? Maybe the king didn't allow it, who knows?
Things that look kind of like you might. I'm talking about your genetic ghost, your personal genomic variation that can be carried on by your descendants. Now, interestingly, even if your progeny are especially fecund, your genetic ghost probably won't stick around that long. Just how much of your unique genetic code winds up in your grandkids, for example, depends partly on chance. It could be anywhere from 23 to 27%. Your great-grandkids will only contain 9 to 14% of you. Your great-great-great-great-great-great-great-grandchildren will on average be no more similar to you than you are to any stranger. In fact, it is at that distance that it becomes possible to be genetically left behind, for absolutely no personal chunks of your genome to be present in anyone. More than 70% of your ancestors from 11 generations ago aren't in you at all. So you're not so much the genetic foundation on which your progeny sit as you are their baby teeth, a thing that served a purpose but was destined to then fall out and be set aside.
Well, that's a rosy thought. See, this is the thing. When people think too much, like scientists whose job is to think at this level, who's like really higher intelligence, people who have PhDs, usually they always come to like nihilism, like mentality. Because they have to be. When you know all this shit, only thing is left is nihilism, isn't it? Like, yeah, none of it matters. Like, just live your life. Be in the moment. In the end, nothing matters. That is depressive as fuck. But like, if you know, this is like reason why people said knowing too much is also a problem. Problem for you, for your peace of mind, because you have to have you have to come to something like nihilism type of point of view. Otherwise, how are you going to move forward, right? When you really process all this shit, it will haunt you.
Where should you be buried if you want to become a fossil? Fossils last a long time. Your legacy could be representing our species in a cool bony pose in a museum millions of years from now. Well, as it turns out, fossilization, the mineralizing of bones into rocky ghosts, is an exceedingly rare occurrence. Bill Bryson puts it this way: less than 0.1% of a species is ever lucky enough to become fossilized, which means that millions of years from now,
0.1.
all that will be left of every single person alive today in the US will probably just be about 60 fossilized bones, not even one full human skeleton. The best way to improve your chances of becoming a fossil are to be buried rapidly and deeply with no coffin under the seafloor of a still mass of water at low elevation where sediment deposits will be swift and fine and oxygen levels low.
Don't do it.
Some locations that fit this bill are parts of the Black Sea, the Gulf of Mexico where the Mississippi disgorges, and the mangrove swamps along the northern
If you want
coast
to
of
do this,
Australia.
it's very important to say that advise the people who gonna manage your funeral to do that. Don't do it before that, is what Michael is saying here.
Even then, there's risk, right? Earth is an active, churning rock, and erosion can wear you away. Metamorphic activity could melt you back down.
So don't do that.
So if
Doesn't
you
matter.
want to be a trace for a long time, leave. The oldest unchanged piece of Earth wasn't even found on Earth. It was found on the Moon, where
There you go.
geological
Fuck off to
activity
the moon.
is less brutal. A monolith engraved with your name and biography buried on the Moon would be a good idea. Except in, 5 to 10 billion years,
Yeah.
our sun will expand into a red giant, engulfing the Earth and Moon, likely destroying them forever. So, a copper disc coated in aluminum.
Yeah, I mean, going to space, somehow not having, like, somehow making sure that you don't have any germs left in you, and so no decay can happen. Yeah, you'll be preserved for a long time, long enough time before, like, atomic decay starts, which is, like, insanely long time. Until that, supernovas can happen, black holes could, anything could happen. But yeah, there's going to be very long time preservation. But for what? For who? Who cares? This is such a long time. Like, in the end of the day, like, there has to be a limit of how much you care about how long you want to be preserved. After that, who cares?
Aluminum and gold floating through space would be even better. The golden records aboard the Voyager spacecraft could exist for trillions of years. They could conceivably still be legible even after the last star goes dim.
Damn.
But your final type of ghost will be there too. It's what I call your ripple ghost, the diffused domino effect of all of your actions. There will be people, for example, a century from now who could enjoy the shade of a tree you planted without ever wondering who put it there. The butterfly effect effectively guarantees us all a sort of anonymous, minute immortality.
Yeah,
Just
domino effect is great. Like, one of your children's in the future carrying your DNA could be the next Hitler. You don't know the effect you're going to have.
by being born, technically, you changed the universe irrevocably. The tiny and subtle but very real way your mass affects the planet Saturn right now will contribute in some extremely small way to exactly how and when its rings collapse. When the universe enters its heat death and it's the same temperature everywhere, the arrangement of matter in the
You do realize every time you jump, you're pushing the earth down. If enough people jumps at the same time in same hemisphere and same side, it could affect the, trajectory of earth. Insanely small that it's not going to be detectable, but it's going to be still like matter. There is also discussion of like how insanely small thing, even though it has effect, does it matter, right? Science is really awesome, let's just say. Like, talks like this are really awesome.
The universe will be the way it is because you existed. There will be no minds to observe it, so you won't be remembered, but you won't be annihilated. But so what? Oh, I've got ghosts that stick around. Newsflash, buddy, I'm not my ghosts. Okay, first of all, yeah, that's exactly why talk of fame and legacy gets so fizzly. For what? I won't be around to enjoy it, and eventually no one will be. But secondly, that's actually a pretty good definition of the self. You are everything you take with you.
Are we going to consciousness debate now? Oh my god, that's just going to be trippy. The whole thing that's make me, like how people say, like, if you don't have any brain activity, you're probably dead. Yeah, probably dead. But what if there is another element of flesh and brain in general? We haven't figured out. What if when we die, we don't really die and we experience slow decay, incineration, getting buried alive? Chances are close to impossible because that's how science works. It can't be drastic like that. Usually no brain activity, cells are decaying, no activity in general means you're probably dead. But we don't know what consciousness is. Doesn't matter if it's just like emergence of collective chemical reactions or whatever. But what if that's the case? What if we don't really die? We still experience in the end of the day, right? And what if, like, even though we can't process it, we can't give out any activity to any measurable device, there is still us in there, getting buried alive, even though people think we are dead, getting incinerated. Oh, just thought of that, like,
With you when you die. Your secrets, the things you could have done or said but never did, that's what you are. Now, you could desperately try to do as much as you can and leave as much on the table as possible, but life is short. Too short?
There you go.
Well, Derek Parfit has pointed out that the brevity of life probably has nothing to do with its meaning. If your life was twice as long, would it have twice as much meaning? If we were all immortal, would the meaning of life suddenly be obvious? No. Meaning is separate from the sheer participation we crave. We just want to keep playing this game. And there's never been more game to play. Staggering amounts of what we want to experience have been tamed into beasts, so lightweight and so fast that, like ghosts, they can pass through walls. The soy bomb only lasted 36 seconds, but because a digital ghost of it lingers in Earth's largest haunted house, an average of 40 people have seen it every day for the last 30 years. Old music started outselling new music for the first.
Yeah, seriously. But then again, like, look, man, I assumed I'm one of the like rare people who doesn't give a fuck about modern music. But then I realized that's not a new thing. I mean, I've listened to some music sometime. There are some good one pops up, sure, but not at the level that I used to, right? With all of his problems, like, can you think of a new artist that is equivalent of Kanye West? Ignore his problems, like in the music level, right? Imagine like all the big names you can think of. Like, yeah, Kendrick is great, Kendrick is big, but I wouldn't call Kendrick new either. Like, Kendrick's been here like for a long time now. GTA 5 had Kendrick soundtrack in it, right? So I don't know. That is so true. Like, whole thing of like lasting long time, right? This whole video about like and finding meaning into things. If you're gonna chase meaning, there is no meaning. Like, what does that mean? If something is satisfactory to you, that's meaning to you, and that's your life. Because in the end of the day, you just live. If you're happy with something, that is your life. There is nothing wrong with that. And there are people who never are satisfied. So they can be the biggest ever and still going to be depressed and like do certain illegal substances, let's just say, just to have calmness in their mind. Nothing is ever enough. So in the end of the meaning is up to you, isn't it? Depression is at rise because chasing meaning element. You need to be happy at certain level. If you're not, that's a problem. You need to find why you're not happy.
First time in 2015. Today, we each spend an average of 7 hours and 3 minutes a day in a haunted house full of avatars and messages from the living and dead alike. People and ideas and art in the past have become not just accessible, but accessible. We are on these ghost portals so much it's become pretty much the only way anyone finds companionship anymore. For crying out loud, more people on this planet own cell phones than toothbrushes. Documentality is the word Mauricio Ferraris gave to him.
What the fuck does that mean? I don't think that's the right data. I think that data implies that people change his smartphone a lot than they change toothbrush. And that could be the sheer element of certain people literally changes phones every few months. I know of these people. Because of like certain like exchange element and things, then they don't care, like they have enough money. Otherwise, yeah, you have your toothpaste. But like, yeah, you change toothpaste. And I'm pretty sure like there are certain elite amount of people who have so much money who change his smartphone so much it's like warping this data. Otherwise, what does that even mean? You have more smartphone than toothpaste. You don't brush your teeth? What does that even mean?
His ontology of traces, but it's also a great word for the extent to which day-to-day life in a society happens as documentation. In a society of high documentality, nearly every transaction, click, step, every memory, everything said or done is vulnerable to recording or simply comes into the world already pre-remembered. Not as an ephemeral oral exchange or a haphazard note, but as a high-fidelity, time-stamped, cataloged artifact. In such a world, it shouldn't be surprising if it starts to feel like there are more things you've said than things you could say. More ways things have been than ways things could be. The future isn't what it used to be. But don't get it twisted. Complete documentality is far from here. As I've mentioned before, our estimates of the current human population have about a 2 to 3% margin of error. That means that about this many people may or may not exist. And at any given moment in the US alone, there are about 40,000 deceased bodies whose identities are unknown. When Steve Fawcett failed to return to the Flying M Ranch in 2007, search and rescue efforts sent to find him discovered 8 previously unidentified airplane crashes that weren't him, but had been out there for, in some cases,
I feel like these stats are much smaller than it looks like. Too many people don't know about like who were they, like if they are even missing or not, whether by just like point blank accident tragedy or by certain heinous crimes. But too many people are disappeared. That I think our technology is just getting better and better, that we can identify people and like actually find it. But in the past, imagine in the past when nothing was like, you can really people disappear all the time because nobody had the means to find anyone.
decades. And when authorities searched for Gabby Petito, they found her and the bodies of at least 8 other people they weren't even looking for. We are not a documented species. We are a bunch of animals walking in and out of rooms. That said, something's changed. The last time a body was interred in the tomb of the unknown soldier was after the Vietnam War, but it was removed in 1998 after DNA testing connected it to a name, Michael Joseph Blassie. In 2014, prosecutors didn't need witnesses or security cam footage to construct what happened between Michelle Carter and Conrad Roy because they had these thousands of text messages. Despite living just 35 miles apart, Carter and Roy's relationship occurred almost entirely through text. So these are not pieces of their relationship. They're not evidence of the whole story. They are the whole story. These messages aren't missing the glances, the nods, the way he or she said it. This is all they each saw. And we have it all. An entire human relationship that...
Yeah, that is such a good point he's bringing up, man. Right? First of all, like, we as a human are changing at an extreme level that people don't realize, which is socializing. We are social beings. That is the top foremost thing what we are, right? For years, like, we lived as just personalized things. Like, we have friends, we have relationship, but that's the bubble we had. Everything else, like, interaction wasn't at that level because anything like TV, internet wasn't as big, right? But nowadays, everything's on internet. So people, like people act differently when they're in front of camera, and in real life, they're different. And that was the real thing for years because that was a rare occurrence, right? But now everything's online. Everything is like, so, everything is documented. Personal space are becoming smaller and smaller thing, right? And your interaction basically like evolved in a way like how I say things, how is my body language, which way I'm saying it, right? Which moment I said it, in which meeting I said it. None of that matters if you're just sending a text. Like you have to interpret from there. And that could create its own, world and assumptions like what this means, what that means. Okay, we've been texting for a long time. I'm a text savvy. So if I say this, it would mean this thing. And the person would basically know that or interpret that. We are changing at a very core level. And yeah, it's like we're having struggle right now, like how to interpret that, how to put that into laws. Like, should we use that in a court? Should frontier justice, like we're seeing it like, oh, he said that, we should cancel him and shit like that. Things is changing a lot, right? So we as a human, like our core element is changing. So in 100 years from now, who knows how we'll act as humans?
happened as and still is undying documents. They're all online, just a few taps deep in the world's largest ocean of documentation. And we just keep filling it up, turning more and more of what we do and see into ghosts, not just to remember, but to experience. When we instinctively watch events through our phones, it's not that we aren't living in the moment, it's that we are. Today, to be in the moment, you have to be fully in the...
I think the reason behind that is that we as a social being has accepted, in order to be social, you have to be social online. In order to be social online, you have to have like history. Otherwise, people will see you as a weirdo. So people has to document them, put their shit online, just so they have online presence, just so they can socialize online. so people see you as normal. This is the world we come to now. People don't want to put, people can just sit here and experience something. No, I better put this online to have a social footprint, because you don't really like think that in the moment, but it's intuitive to you, like, why am I doing this?
The moment, every part of you, even the I, you have to charge, and the mind you share with others. See what's happening? We are not just getting more ghosts, we are beginning to live as ghosts, as an account, a like, a post, a view, and it's great. We're spared the humilities of confrontation, and to be an image is to be something. Frederick Douglass and Sojourner Truth knew this. They had photographic images of themselves printed up. To own and control and sell your own figural ghost meant that you had power. But today, being a ghost surrounded by other ghosts causes a certain kind of newfangled anxiety. In his 1985 Amusing Ourselves to Death, Neil Postman describes what he calls the information-action ratio. Now, even though this book predates the World Wide Web, it may as well have been written about it. Let me ask you a modern version of a question he asks in here. How often does something you see on social media cause you to alter your plans for the day, or to take some action you would not otherwise have taken, or provide you with insight into some problem you are required to solve? When everything persists, irrelevance takes over. But the
Man, I'm not gonna lie, I'm not I just started Instagram account a year ago or something. I don't know. Like, even though I've been tech savvy for years, before Google and YouTube was even a thing, I'm pretty sure I had a social account years ago, like 2006, 7. Like Yahoo chat and shit, like I used to do. But I just stopped giving a shit because I see where that was going, and I didn't like that element. So I'm not a very online guy, right? I have a Twitter account, but I don't like. I'm pretty sure I even forgot the password. I need to worry about that now. I'm not very social guy in that way, right? But I was seeing, like, because of YouTube, because I'm post YouTube video, and I was making, I was watching Asmogor and things. Certain things that just, like, I'm in a good mood. I'm gonna do this, like, like I'm a civil contractor, like make buildings and things, construction. So I have, like, that kind of, like, in my mind. I have my family, I have my friends, I have things, I do activities, right? So when I wake up, I have that mentality in my head. As soon as I sit down, I see certain things, and YouTube just, like, inundates you with, like, certain shorts and, like, videos and clips, and then I'm in a bad mood. I'm like, why the fuck am I in bad mood? Then I realize, because I'm seeing this YouTube page, and there are certain news there, certain fucked up thing happening around the world, certain just depressing things that just, like, give you micro messages in your head, right? That you don't realize, which just puts you in bad mood. And you'll be in bad mood for a few hours. And then I realized, wait a minute, I'm just going to make video, and then I'm going to click on YouTube. Until then, I'm not going to scroll anything. I'm not going to check anything. And I notice my mood is just better. And that affects me, right? I'm not a very social online type of guy, and this affects me. So imagine people who are constantly online. Instagram, TikTok, this and that. This is fucked up, man, right? You can change as a person. If you like, just like how people alcoholism, what is it, like AA meeting or whatever, people go to meeting and stop alcohol. Do that for social media for a month and see what happens. Seriously, it would be like insane effect.
constant scroll of doom and pleasure and distraction isn't just irrelevant, is it? No, it's truly a ghost that can pass right through you. You can sit and stare for an hour and not remember a single thing you were served. We don't do that because it feels good. We do it because our minds want to be unsettled. A never-ending scroll of decontextualized news and horror and comedy and family and backflips isn't some unholy modern abomination of nature. It is exactly the niche we evolved to thrive in. Oh.
I mean, it's the weird mentality of curiosity and, like, what could it be? Mindset that if we see something weird, we have to watch it. And you do it enough, it becomes this kind of like a problem. Like I said, like how alcoholism is a problem. Like you do that every day, which becomes a problem in itself, right? And now, and also like social pressure as well. Everybody's on like online. Why you not? Everybody's on Instagram. Why you not? Everybody watch TikTok. Why you not? What are you, weirdo? You're gonna sit there and do what, like drawing and pottery or whatever the fuck you're doing as your like a niche thing? What are you, weirdo? Like everybody's on social media, so that pressure also like nudges you there, and you just go into that doom scrolling things. Like I've noticed that very early, and I'm like, fuck that. I don't care what. I'm not doing that shit.
Oh no, my brain evolved to eat berries in a cave. No, it evolved to reach the lushness of Southeast Asia and then cross the Wallace line.
Curiosity.
Not because it had to, and not because it could, but because what laid beyond was next, and we've got autoplay on. Hey, let's build a thing that floats and like we could fit in it. We could call it a boat. Huh? What's that? Where will it take us? Away. We are not the universe experiencing itself. We are.
Yeah, we have this curiosity which is anti-stagnation, which is a good thing. Otherwise, we wouldn't be where we are right now. We would have died out long ago.
The universe ignoring itself. We are the universe looking for something else. In order to be here for long, we needed to not be here for long. I don't think it's the risk or the challenge that motivates us. Good stories and curiosity and adventure are the icing on the cake we really desire, unsettledness. Not knowing what's going to happen next can be exciting. Why? I think in the same way that long necks were selected in giraffes because no one was eating the way up high leaves, and in the same way that white fur was selected in polar mammals because no one was eating snow, imagination was selected in humans because no one was eating possibilities. As soft apes in the midst of climatic change, those who survived didn't wait for natural selection to provide an answer. No, they relied, as we still do today, not on evolution, but on resolution.
Imagination is something I've thought in the past. I feel like through evolution, we become such dominant thing that even like evolution was providing us answer like how every species it does. But we were like getting better so much that we started doing our own thing where we used our imagination. Like I wonder what I could do next. Animals don't think that because like that's how they evolve. Like environment basically gives you the answer. But you get so many answers, you become so much dominant that one point you try to do that thing your own self. And that's where imagination and curiosity comes from, right? And that's why we as a human evolved in this way and became so dominant. That is an insane thing when you really process it. Like, what butterfly effect basically made us into this shit, right?
On picturing and manipulating an analog world inside the theater of their own minds. Up here, we can imagine things that aren't hypotheticals, the distant past and future, the way things might be. We can recognize that collecting firewood now will be worth it. We can recognize that if there's no water here, we can bring it to us. The world is not our home. It's fuel for the fire up here where we really live. But because of that fire, we have made the whole world our home. Our ancestors are those hominids whose resolving never resolved. Now, sure.
This is equivalent to like, like poor people, like anybody in general, poor or average person, just go day by day. They do 8-9 hour shifts. They go to their family. They go to sleep and rinse and repeat. They don't have luxury to do anything else. You can apply that at species level. Every species don't have luxury for anything. They just survive. Like I said, as a humans, we evolved such a way that we had a luxury of like what next, and probably imagination arise from that. Okay, maybe we should do this will do that. No other species had that luxury. We evolved into that because we were getting so dominant, right? At least that's what I think. And as far as like that thing he said, like, okay, our creativeness basically makes us like, let's build a boat. Where will it go next? I don't know, away. That is such a good element of what is it to be human. And most people who are depressed forgets that. If you ever had any kind of depressing episode or like people are depressed, let's say a video game. Should I play this video game? What's the point? I'll do this mission, I'll kill this NPCs here and there. It will like waste 2 hours. Like, what did I get? You're thinking about what will I get in the end. And that's not how things work. It's a game. Let's see what happens. It's the journey that will trigger things in give you endorphins and shit like that. And you'll feel good in the end of it. But if you just think the process, like what's the point of it? Yeah, that's not how humans work. Anybody who's depressed, if you stop thinking about what's the point of it, If you stop thinking that and just like, oh, maybe I should do this and like think about that and invest time in that, depression will slowly decrease. I mean, it will never go away because mental issues never go away. But at least this is a way to go about.
Binge watching TV or scrolling a social media feed are pretty different than crossing the Bering Strait, but they're still unsettling, right? What's going to happen next? Each next swipe brings you something different. Like the cognitive niche we built for ourselves, it never resolves. But unlike the travails of our ancestors, there's so much less danger. We can witness and interact safely from home, like pieces of luggage being moved at light speed without moving at all. The internet is a bounty of torques and velleities, pushes that spin us around but don't move us anywhere, and wishes not strong enough to inspire action. We're not amusing ourselves to death. We're amusing ourselves to life. A longer, scarier life. And as always, thanks for watching.
Like how Drukharis did in Warhammer. They become so powerful that they just amuse themselves into something really fucked up. I guess we are going that way. We're gonna give birth to Slanesh. That's what's gonna happen one day. No, you're not gonna do. No way you're gonna do that. No, you're not. All right. Enough.
Don't forget to pre-order your very own.
Yeah. You know what? I need to check if I can get that or not. Like, that clock is fucking cool. I need that shit. I love this, man. I love Michael just came in and gave you dread and give you something to think about. Man, this was so good. I hope he keeps posting shit like this because only Michael can do this. I was waiting for, or is it? And then I was waiting for that. I guess he doesn't do that in modern times, but okay. His older videos are more like that. It becomes such a meme, I think he should keep it. It's so Michael. I don't know. Yeah, okay. Right, well, if you like my content, subscribe and I'll see you next time.